Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. We look forward to our growing partnership with the state as we all work together to create the future for quality childcare. This morning, I'm going to share some of the trends and needs in childcare, including the impact of the COVID-19 relief efforts, and I'll also highlight how you can join THREAD in bridging childcare to the future. There's a lot happening in childcare right now, and here are the top 5 trends that we have seen in the last 5 years. The first is childcare in focus. With more focus in childcare, there is heightened awareness of the sector issues. The needs of childcare have become more visible than ever. With the loud volume of childcare needs and issues turned up, we've seen more about childcare in the media and have had more conversations with businesses and lawmakers than ever before. And we have new and growing childcare-focused groups and partners, including the Governor's Childcare Task Force. This has been exciting and attention and awareness to childcare issues. Next slide, please. This heightened attention and concern has included elevated conversations amongst decision makers, and this includes bipartisan support for childcare in the Alaska legislature, resulting in budget amendments for investments in childcare and the first ever childcare legislation introduced. We're happy to share that there are currently over 4 bills that support and advance childcare goals in the legislature. In the last 3 years, as we also heard about the Governor's Task Force, there's a lot of more data and research that is underway. One of the highlights that is some of the data and research that we've seen is the Untapped Potential Report, and we previewed this report in the 2021 summit. This research was led by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation, and it was the first ever business survey solely done on the intersection between business and childcare needs in Alaska. And I highlight it here because this report has actually been the most quoted report of statistics and data that's been referenced in the media and in testimony over the last 2 years. This research was made possible from the leadership of the Alaska Chamber, which is my third trend. In addition to growing data, we've seen new and creative partnerships form to support and advance childcare solutions. One of those partnerships that has grown over the last few years is with the Alaska Chamber and business community. I'm so thankful for the leadership of Katie Capuzzi, and she's the CEO and president of the Alaska Chamber, and she'll be joining us later today. We'll hear from her. But Katie has worked closely with THREAD and the Alaska Chamber membership to advance and support an Alaska Chamber public policy position, which is to support decreasing barriers to the entry of childcare in order to increase availability and access to childcare in Alaska. The business voice and partnerships have elevated the recognition of childcare needs to support our collective Alaska workforce. Other partnerships that have been essential to supporting childcare have been from the federal, state, and local lawmakers, notably the State Department of Health and the Department of Education and Early Development. These partnerships have been key during this time because Alaska has received over $95 million in federal relief money earmarked for childcare. In addition to this directed federal money, we continued to see local governments invest in targeted childcare funding, and philanthropy partners step in to augment and leverage support. Together, we estimate that there's been over $120 million invested in targeted childcare support over the state in the last 3 years. This money has reached over 450 childcare programs serving over 9,000 children, and it's reached the amazing early childhood educators across the state, over 2,000 of them. I'm so thankful for our partners, especially at the State Child Care Program Office, who made most of this money possible for early educators and child care programs. We heard from early educators and programs across the state how this money made a huge difference and helped keep their programs open. And all of this would not have been made possible without our incredible team at THREAD too. So I would like to take a moment to ask the THREAD team to stand and be recognized. These last few years, our team has pivoted to respond to the needs of COVID have responded to family needs and stress. They've created and scaled new initiatives, delivered more services and supports than ever, and worked to ensure every child care program and early educators was connected to the services, received the money allocated for them, and was supported in the ways that they needed and was most helpful. Thank you to our team. You are really incredible. Continuing on the trend of money for childcare, in addition to the COVID-19 relief, the state of Alaska has increased investment with direct support for childcare over the last few years. The last 2 years, we've seen $8.5 million of new money allocated to childcare through the annual budget. And while the investments in childcare have been historical, unfortunately, the COVID-19 relief efforts and the state investments are short-term. And while it's helpful and needed, it's really only a Band-Aid for an already struggling sector. While we've seen progress and new investments made in childcare, the sector is fragile and struggling. The growing need for childcare has not changed. In fact, unfortunately, things have gotten worse. More families are struggling than ever to find quality childcare. We're hearing in our childcare referral calls tough decisions being made to leave jobs, tough decisions about having to make difficult care decisions, often that don't always feel that safe. At times, parents are calling us crying in frustration and having heightened stress, and sometimes it literally feels like there's no care available. I would love to see a show of hands if you or somebody you know has experienced this. Yeah, the struggle is real. It's real. Early educators working so very hard are struggling to stay in the field. They have low pay, often no benefits, knowing they can make more money as a barista at McDonald's or at most of our retail stores. On top of low pay, teachers are stressed with more children showing up to the classroom struggling, which shows up in more challenging behaviors and disruptions in our classrooms. Childcare is an intense and laborious job, and our teachers are burnt out. So with struggles to recruit and retain more staff, childcare programs are struggling to stay open, and unfortunately, we're seeing a trend of program closures. For the first time in Anchorage in over 20 years, we have less than 200 licensed childcare programs. Statewide, we now have 409 programs with an ability to serve about 10,500 children. This is down from 2019 when Alaska had 500 licensed childcare programs, and 10 years ago, we had 589 licensed childcare programs. So this is not meeting the high demand for working families. So the last 3.5 years really has been extraordinary, and it's been remarkable in many ways. The needs for childcare were at the forefront in the pandemic, with this critical sector and essential staff, really everyday heroes, there to shift and respond and to support our youngest children and their families. And while there's been more focus on childcare than ever, more data, and the largest historical investments, little has been done to support long-term sustainable solutions. In the opening video and in the Lieutenant Governor's remarks, we heard talking about the teachers and how they're caring for our most precious resource in Alaska, our youngest children. They deserve the very best start, and THREAD remains focused on giving them and their families more access to affordable and high-quality childcare. THREAD is here for our state to provide childcare referrals for families, professional development, training, and supports for early educators, consultation to childcare businesses to improve the quality of their care and education, and work with communities and businesses for better solutions to childcare needs. Our aim is through SEED and Learn and Grow that we can create the highest quality of care and education in our state. This is our everyday work. Over the last few years, we've created new positions focused on public policy and community outreach with aim to extend our reach and impact. We've also launched the Child Care Works initiative that's exploring sector supports through partnership that will drive innovative sector change. This work has specific focus on increasing access with an eye on rural and remote Alaska and supports the child care workforce. And we remain committed to stabilizing childcare through continued advocacy. We're actively growing partnerships, research, and data. We're raising our voice with many of you as well to create change. And we will continue to both raise money and advocate for additional money to improve conditions for this important sector. We are focused and believe that together we can create more access to affordable and high-quality childcare. So as we turn the page forward, we look forward to building from what we've learned to create the bridge to the future. Childcare is critical infrastructure. Childcare was there during the pandemic and allowed our state to carry on. Amazing teachers were supporting our workforce and families to new heights. Data collected from the childcare relief efforts showed that investments in childcare worked. These investments kept childcare open and stable. They allowed early educators to be paid higher wages, childcare to be more affordable and accessible for families. We know that early educators are professionals and deserve better. This is a strong, resilient, hardworking sector who is really an extension of our families. We know that they deserve better, to be seen, heard, supported, and nurtured, just as they are doing for our young children every day. And we know that childcare is important for business. Businesses need employees, and many of these employees have families of their own and rely on and need quality childcare. We need childcare for Alaska to work. But we know we can't do it alone, and we must work together to bring more quality childcare into the future. Childcare is important to our economy. Childcare will help Alaska grow. We can make childcare more accessible, more affordable, and recognize early educators as the professionals they are. And we can ensure all children and families have the best start. So today, together, we have an opportunity to create a brighter future for quality childcare. We invite you to listen, learn, lean into ideas where we can partner, invest, and creatively respond to what childcare needs next. Thank you.